Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH the Flame Emperor episode number 220 based on novel. So let's start. How could it be possible? The body was instantly penetrated by the pitch-black chain, and then a large pool of blood slowly flowed from Xiao Yang's chest like a small stream from the wound in Xiao Yang's body, although it was avoided by Xiao Yang impartially. The key point was, but such a blow still caused Xiao Yang to suffer quite a bit. All of this happened between lightning and flint, Xiao Yang. And when Xiao Yang suffered such a big change, Mu Yingying, Kailin and Yueru's three daughters hurriedly shouted, and there was a hint of heartache in their eyes. Yueru didn't think about other things, she hugged Xiao Yang in an instant, voices of pain kept coming out, tears couldn't stop flowing down, obviously she was a bit remorseful. It won't be so badly injured, it's all because of myself. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect this silver moon bow and arrow to be so tyrannical. If it wasn't for the shield, I'm afraid I would have been seriously injured. And Xiao Yang was attacked like this, and a mad laugh with evil intentions came from the sky. Damn. This King Shenling is a powerhouse who has mastered ghost chi, power of evil, and power of life and death. I'm afraid even the powerhouses in the early stage of the two-star Yan can't handle it. The Soul Eater said. King Shenling. And Yueru looked up and stared at King Shenling with resentment, as if she could swallow him abruptly. At this time, King Xuanling's voice was quite sinister, and in front of that body was a rather familiar figure standing, the deputy head of the Wolf Eagle Legion, the old man. At this time, the turbid old man's breath was extremely sluggish, as if he was on the verge of death. On the other hand, right in front of old Shua's chest, there is a very conspicuous scar, which is the chest that was penetrated by the Yinyu immortal bow just now. King Shenling threw the old man's body lightly, and then it fell from the air like a dead object. Zhual arrow was used by the Shenling king to resist the fatal blow of the Yinyu bow and arrow at the critical moment, and so he fell completely, and the Shenling king's body, except for the phantom of the blood demon envoy at the chest, was smashed by the Yinyu fairy bow. Besides, there was no injury whatsoever. I really underestimate you. Not only did I lose a capable general of the 9-star Dodi, but I also destroyed the phantom of the gore fiend that I swallowed. King Shenling looked like a supreme monarch, looking at Yueru below, and smiled. Damn, this isn't dead. Yueru hugged Xiao Yang, and a trace of strength from her body continued to gather towards Xiao Yang. Next, I will let you taste the storm of with your own eyes. After the Shenling king finished speaking, he raised his hands high, showing a tendency to drag the sky. Above, a force after another whistled towards the Shenling king. Boom boom boom. As King Shenling attacked like this, circles of blood-red death ripples continued to emerge on the entire altar that had been wrapped. This guy. Yueru said softly, she was about to start, but she was surprised by the scene in front of her. Leave it to me. Xiao Yang forcibly stood up, and then a flame prismatic crystal flashing with blue light suddenly appeared in everyone's sight. Crash. With a soft sound, an extremely terrifying ghost flame burst out from above the blue-colored holy flame crystal, and it easily burned the chain running through the chest into nothingness. This is ghost-faced soul flame. As soon as this thing appeared, Yang Kai on the side couldn't help roaring. That's not enough. Xiao Yang looked at the scorching power of ghost-faced soul flame, and then a dangerous arc appeared at the corner of his mouth, and a crazy thought suddenly burst out. Now, this is the only way. Otherwise, if the consumption continues like this, I am afraid that everyone here will die. Come out. As Xiao Yang's voice fell, a rather pleasant explosion sounded in the entire sky. 2 holy flames? How could it be possible? And with the appearance of the cyan holy flame crystal and the khaki yellow holy flame crystal, the pupils of King Shenling, who was brewing a fatal blow in the sky, shrank suddenly, and a fear was born from the bottom of his heart. The power of the holy flame can only be gradually revealed when it reaches the 9-star Emperor, but it can be said without hesitation that the power of the holy flame is taboo among the powerhouses of the same level. After all, the power of the holy flame is extraordinary. This guy, what are you planning to do by summoning the power of 2 holy flames? Mu Yingying and Yang Kai both looked at each other. Obviously, even if they were holy flames, they had never heard of the power of 2 holy flames. Coexist as one. I have long heard that Shenju Fenju can combine the power of different holy flames, thus giving birth to a more terrifying power. I remember when the ancient Emperor Tuorsha used the power of 3 holy flames, only the strength of the 3-star Yan in the early stage, he killed the strong 4-star Yan abruptly, and by virtue of the burning decision, he finally stood in the world of Dakian world. Strong. The Soul Eater said slowly. On the other hand, at Long Yi and Xiao Yi, the two of them dealt with the 8-star and 9-star Dodi and they were also vaguely unsupported. However, the Soul Eater is quite relaxed here, and if it hadn't been for when the Golden Dragon King left, Xiao Yang would have had a catastrophe today. Coupled with the Soul Eater talisman and the power of the two evil soldiers of the Blood River Bell, it can directly kill these 1-star and 2-star fighting immortals. Yueru, give me 3 minutes. After Xiao Yang summoned 2 Saint Flame crystals, he was not idle and said directly, "Is there any danger?" Yueru couldn't help but ask. Yes, but it's worth it." Facing Yueru's concern, Xiao Yang said with a conspicuous smile slightly leaking from the corner of his mouth. As soon as the voice fell, Xiao Yang's palm, a khaki yellow holy flame crystal, and a cyan holy flame crystal, on top of the 2 holy flame crystals, an extremely terrifying flame force was slowly born. The next moment, Xiao Yang's eyes narrowed tightly, then he gritted his teeth slightly, and a smear appeared decisively. His eyes were fixed on the 2 holy flame crystals that exuded the power of destruction on the palm of his hand. The Saint Flame crystal moved directly towards it. Crazy. Definitely a lunatic. But the King Xianling who saw Xiao Yang's scene above the sky became trembling. Even if King Xianling collected countless information about holy flames, none of them said that holy flames can be merged. Sheng Yang is like an overlord and monarch in the fire, and each flower is unruly. If you want to combine the power of 2 sacred flames, according to Xian Lingwang's guess, there is probably only one result. Exploded and died, instantly fell. I will detonate 23 kinds of different fires at the price. If the holy flames in the fusion zone are not successful, then it will be a little funny. Xiao Yang's face was calm, and then he gritted his teeth bitterly, and endured the clump in the palm of his hand. The powerful repulsive force emitted when the cyan flame and the khaki flame gather. Feng Ju, turn it around for me. Feeling the increasingly crazy power in the 2 holy flame crystals, Xiao Yang couldn't help roaring as if he could instantly kill Xiao Yang in the next moment. And with Xiao Yang roaring like this, the Feng Ju deep inside the body started to run at a high speed, and with the operation of Feng Ju, the repulsive force in the 2 holy flames actually weakened faintly. Bang bang bang! A muffled groan emanated directly from Xiao Yang's mouth and nose. Obviously, as the 2 Saint Flame crystals got closer and closer, the resulting rejection became stronger and stronger. I hope you don't have any trouble. Seeing Xiao Yang so desperately, Yueru got up and roared towards King Xianling. Now, she only needs to buy 3 minutes for Xiao Yang. Damn guy. Such a crazy move will only make me cheap in the end. Seeing Xiao Yang's crazy approach, King Xuanling's palm was dragging high. No matter what, he had to wipe out these people with one blow. Otherwise, the black energy that was fighting against Xian Kang would be quite mysterious, making King Xianling faintly uneasy. King Xianling, where are you running? Looking at several other battles, King Xuanling's subordinates were all pinned down by the opponent, and King Xianling couldn't call up other powerhouses. He could only contain destruction attacks while escape from Yueru's attack range. This guy still likes to show his strength so much. Seeing Xiao Yang's desperate appearance, Cai Lin couldn't help shaking her head slightly. Holy Flame Crystal, drop it off for me. The source of Holy Flame. After a short while, Xiao Yang's voice burst out. Crash. As Xiao Yang roared like this, the khaki yellow Holy Flame Crystal and the cyan Holy Flame Crystal disappeared immediately, leaving 2 pools of crystal clear liquid on Xiao Yang's hands. The 2 pools of liquid instantly turned into 2 groups of flames. The cyan flame and the khaki flame just emerged, which immediately vented a rather eerie feeling to the sky and even the air here. Whether it's successful or not, it's up to this time. Xiao Yang held the 2 flames tightly with both hands, and then said with a little trembling. As soon as the voice fell, the flame seeds from the source of the 2 groups of holy flames began to fuse. Boom! The cyan flame and the khaki flame just came into contact, and a muffled groan sounded directly from the center of the 2. At this time, with the muffled groan produced by such flames, Xiao Yang's hands were also ripped apart. Even if there was some protection from Xiao Yang's body-burning jewels and fighting qi, a trace of scarlet blood was still flowing slowly, quite a bit. For bloody. Xiao Yang's expression was still extremely calm, because he knew that the fusion of holy flames was not as simple as fusion of different fires. He forcibly endured the severe pain from the palm of his hand. There was actually a trace that was directly strung into Xiao Yang's pupils. Between the cyan pupils and the khaki pupils, an extremely terrifying wave slowly radiated out, and the 2 colors alternated constantly, which seemed quite strange. The 2 flames in the palm of the hand are still difficult to ride a tiger, but Xiao Yang is also gritted his teeth and stubborn, regardless of how the two flames are repelled, how to generate a huge force to resist himself, his hands are stubbornly facing each other. Gather in the middle. At this time, the cyan flame and the khaki flame above Xiao Yang's palm were only 5 centimeters apart, so they could be completely merged. However, the distance of 5 centimeters made it difficult for Xiao Yang to move forward. Only by mobilizing every cell in his body, without a trace of soul power or even fighting spirit, could he be able to advance a little bit slowly. King Shenling was dealing with Yueru, and his eyes were fixed on Xiao Yang, who was like a madman. He was also a little curious. If Xiao Yang's attack was really successful, then I am afraid that there will be no one in the past and no one in the future. Moreover, King Shenling also has the confidence to win the battle today. Not only did Mu Yingying and Yang Kai want to swallow the 2 holy flames, but they even coveted the 2 holy flames on Xiao Yang's body. Now that Xiao Yang has made such a crazy scene again, Shenling King is naturally curious, so he is ready to watch. Let's see what's going on first. Hurry up, there's not enough time. Seeing that Yueru's breath in the sky was getting weaker and weaker, Xiao Yang couldn't help but shout, "Fart!" Finally, under Xiao Yang's hard support, the cyan flame and the khaki flame suddenly collided without any obstacle. With the complete elimination of the obstacle, traces of blood continued to overflow from Xiao Yang's palm. Obviously, Xiao Yang wasted a lot of energy in order to make the 2 flames touch without gaps. The second group of flames had just touched, and they were ready to fight back, but Xiao Yang's body was burning with a trace of vindictiveness directly on it. At that time, the backlash was temporarily suppressed, and then it began to slowly compress. Bang bang bang! A muffled groan came directly from Xiao Yang's chest. Obviously, even now that the holy flame has begun to merge, even if it is a bit burning, Xiao Yang wants to completely integrate the power of the 2 holy flames. Difficulty is not small. When the cyan flame and the khaki flame were compressed, every time the power of the 2 reached the 0 point, a backlash would be sent out, and Xiao Yang's blood was directly gushed out, but the 2 merged out. The evil power has become more violent. And even if this is the case, Xiao Yang still ignores it and continues to compress the power of the 2 holy flames. Xiao Yang, dissipate quickly, go on like this. You will die. As a holy flame, Mu Yingying naturally felt the rebelliousness of the 2 holy flames in Xiao Yang's fusion. If it goes on like this, I am afraid that Xiao Yang will really explode and die. Trust him. Seeing Mu Yingying in such a hurry, Kaylin said a little. Bang bang bang. Several muffled hums sounded again. Xiao Yang's aura in the body was weakening, and even his face became pale. It should be enough. Although Xiao Yang had been enduring the backlash from his body, at this moment, in the palm of his hand, the 2 flames slowly merged into one exuding a blue-yellow color. Delicate lotus seeds slowly appeared in front of everyone. Come out. The lotus of life and death. Without listening to anyone's words, the high concentration of soul power almost roared at the thing above his palm. Following Xiao Yang's heart-wrenching roar, at this moment the entire altar above the sky and the earth were darkened, and the breeze seemed to be shocked by Xiao Yang's terrifying blow and temporarily forgot to flow. Looking at the beautiful blue-yellow lotus seeds on his palm, Xiao Yang didn't stop. There was a trace of fire in his pupils, and then the fingertips, with a touch of fighting chi, suddenly moved, and immediately poured all the green-yellow lotus seeds into it. And that grudge was born from Fen Ju. With the injection of Fen Juel's fighting spirit, the originally quiet green and yellow lotus seeds suddenly rioted. The 2-color cyan and khaki flames slowly appeared, and then slowly danced beside the cyan lotus seed. Ha ha ha. King Shenling, let you have a taste of this great gift. And Xiao Yang looked at the green and yellow lotus seed, which was catalyzed by his own burning jewel, and was extremely violent, directly facing the position of King Shenling, and threw it viciously. Outside the lotus of life and death, cyan and khaki 2-color flames slowly surrounded it, and shot towards the Shenling King at a rapid speed, and there were no spatial ripples or even fluctuations anywhere along the way. But it was this understatement that made the Shenling King, who was still invincible, go crazy, and even the cold hairs in his body instantly stood up. The lotus of life and death, with the source power of 2 holy flames, shrank violently when it was 50 meters away from King Shenling, and then suddenly expanded. At that time, a sound of explosion that moved the heavens and the earth, from the altar sky, resounded through the sky. Boom! Destructive energy, like a tide, spread out from the sky where the Shenling King was. Even some huge peaks around the altar were directly destroyed by this destructive force and became nothingness. And the mysterious enchantment of the evil queen and the ghostly energy that wrapped the altar was completely turned into powder by Xiao Yang's blow. Without the enchantment package, everything that happened on the altar was also brought into the sight of countless humans in Shentian. The gorgeous green and yellow lotus seeds exploded completely in the sky of the altar, like a fire descending, venting his anger here, and the anger swept the whole world. Such a terrifying explosion made the entire Shen 3 days become a stove, and the temperature suddenly rose. What is this? Could it be that we did something wrong that caused Lord Vulcan to punish us? There is the orientation of the altar of Shenling Mountain. Such strong energy fluctuations, I am afraid that our Shentian powerhouses cannot exert them. Isn't the demon extermination ceremony being held there? How could it be? Countless people in Shen Santian looked up stupidly, looking at the terrifying wave of fire emanating thousands of meters away, and said dumbly, "Boom." At this time, on the altar at the top of Shenling Mountain, in the blue sky, the terrifying lotus of life and death Yubo still hasn't completely dissipated, and there are traces of flame ripples with a blue-yellow color, which exploded point as the center, spread in degree. And with Xiao Yang's terrifying blow, all the creatures on this altar suffered a devastating blow, and even the altar was beyond recognition. After about a few minutes of touching, as the blue and yellow flames slowly disappeared, this world slowly returned to normal, but that normality made some places in this sky visible everywhere. A distorted space scorched by the power of holy flame. In the sky, 2 people appeared, and both of them fell directly to the ground at the same time, and their speed was astonishing. "Little bastard. You really surprised me." But the person who fell down said grimly, and his voice was full of anger. After a while, the 2 of them both fell directly onto the land. Xiao Yang took the lead in getting up with great difficulty, and then coughed violently. At the same time, he coughed out blood. "King Shenling, I didn't expect your life to be so hard." After Xiao Yang stood up hard, looking at the King Shenling, who was already in a state of embarrassment, he made a slight voice. His voice was extremely weak, and his face was even slightly pale. It was pale. It was obvious that the blow just now consumed almost all of Xiao Yang's strength, and still did not completely obliterate the Shenling king, only severely injured him. At this time, King Shenling was extremely embarrassed. No part of his body was intact. Even the muscles full of evil energy became twisted under Xiao Yang's lotus of life and death. Lian survived the attack, but also paid a very heavy price. The most important thing is that drops of black and red blood dripped from King Shenling. King Xuanling's left arm actually disappeared in the shocking explosion just now. Ha ha ha. Okay, you Xiao Yang, it really opened my eyes. It turns out that the fusion of the power of holy flame can produce such a powerful power. I think it has something to do with the thing in your body. Hand over the exercises in your body to me. The next moment, King Xuanling's figure exploded, and the only remaining hand, with a vicious attack, attacked Xiao Yang directly. Based on King Xuanling's estimation just now, the power generated by the fusion of Xiao Yang's 2 holy flames, if Xiao Yang's strength is a little bit tyrannical, I am afraid he can really kill himself. You must know that Xiao Yang's strength is only in the middle stage of the 7-star Do Emperor, and even after detonating the strange fire, his strength has dropped to the 5-star Do Emperor. The lotus of life and death condensed in this way almost caused the Shenling king to be seriously injured and died. At this time, Xiao Yang could also be said to have fallen into a situation where the lamp was running out of oil, and he couldn't help shaking his body. Whoosh whoosh. King Shenling dragged his tired body to Xiao Yang and slapped him. Crash. When King Xuanling's attack suddenly came, Yueru, who was on the side, rushed over just in time, and a short blade appeared directly, blocking King Xuanling's attack. Bastard. King Shenling couldn't help cursing when he saw Yueru appear. At this time of the battle, almost all other places are evenly matched, and only here is a variable. I really didn't expect that the easiest guy turned out to be the toughest. I am afraid that Yueru's current strength is stronger than mine. It seems that now I can only devour Shenyang first and kill them, otherwise the variables will be too big. King Shenling didn't dare to see that his attack was blocked. Hesitating here, I have other thoughts in my mind. However, this was also the time when there was no other way. King Shenling was extremely proud. Dealing with Xiao Yang would definitely be like killing an ant, but how could he have thought that when he underestimated Xiao Yang, the strength of a dignified fighting immortal was actually in the hands of such a guy? Being seriously injured, King Shenling had to be a little angry. King Shenling stepped aside and temporarily recovered the injury in his body, and then his eyes kept looking at the 3 pillars. Are you alright? Yueru asked Xiao Yang directly after defeating King Shenling with a single blow, with a hint of heartache flashing in her beautiful eyes. It's fine. King Shenling has already controlled the entire Zhuanshanshan powerhouse through the sole-controlling lead of the poison sect. Let's go and deal with King Shenling first. Xiao Yang said intermittently. Okay. Yu hesitated for a while, and then saw the firm look in Xiao Yang's pupils. She didn't dare to refuse. She went directly to the position where King Shenling was, and showed her aura to the extreme. King Shenling, it's time for this to end. Yu spoke slightly, her voice full of chills. Obviously, even if Tendo Xian were trapped in the Blood River Bell, Yu knew through perception that her master was also there, so she was naturally extremely angry. I never thought that my dignified King Shenling would be forced to this step. It's really a miscalculation. But, do you dare to kill me? Facing Yu, who walked towards him step by step, King Shenling was like a madman, and laughed wickedly. This guy, crazy. And Xiao Yi and Long Yi also looked over in confusion. Die. After a few breaths, Yu came to King Shenling, raised the short blade with mysterious patterns, and stabbed at King Xuanling's Qianling Gari. Look, what is this? When Yu just started, the Shenling King took out a silver crystal directly from his arms. Despicable. As soon as the silver crystal appeared, Yu's attack suddenly stopped, and a heavy feeling emerged in her heart. This is a soul ball, and the soul power of countless strong people under my control has been injected into it. As long as my mind moves, the strong people here will fall completely. You can start. Let's see if it's your short blade that's quick, or my mind is quick. King Shenling said to Yu confidently. Damn. When Xiao Yang saw this scene, he couldn't help frowning. Obviously, even Xiao Yang didn't think of this. Moreover, Xiao Yang knew that what King Shenling said was true. If he insisted on taking action, I am afraid that all the powerhouses here would fall completely. Xiao Yang, haven't you always claimed to be righteous? Go ahead, kill me, the big devil. That price is nothing but the power of Shentian Santian. But Shenling King stared at Xiao Yang with a slight smile. What do you want? Xiao Yang forcibly endured the severe pain from his body, and asked Shenling King. Ha ha ha. Take the 2 holy flames out of your body. King Shenling watched Xiao Yang's momentum weaken, and said directly with a big mouth. You are dreaming. Xiao Yang said coldly after hearing this. Saint Yang is extremely important to him, and King Xuanling's move is extremely unwise, but with the power of Xiao Yang at this time, there is no way to steal the soul ball from King Shenling, otherwise things would not be so troublesome. What is this King Shenling doing? There seems to be something on those 3 pillars. The Soul Eater Lord on the side was constantly dealing with Shen Kang and constantly controlling Xue Ling, but he suddenly discovered something. He only saw a slightly very weak aura slowly emerging above the 3 pillars. He just wanted to tell Xiao Yang, but was stopped by Shen Kang. Then I'll let them fall here completely. The change on the 3 pillars was naturally the backhand prepared by the Shenling King, but that thing was still a while away, so it could only be delayed temporarily. The obscure aura above the 3 stone pillars is astonishingly absorbing the power of the 3. It can be said without hesitation that if you want to obtain the power of the 10-colored sky-swallowing python to suppress the holy flame, you can only use this method, and even Kaelin and the others don't know that since they were bound on the stone pillar, they were secretly hidden. The ghost chi continued to absorb the power of Kaelin, thereby suppressing the power of the holy flames on the other 2 holy flames. Xiao Yang was extremely weak, and Yueru's breath was sluggish, so no one noticed any changes on the 3 pillars. Strange, why is it a little cold? And when Xiao Yang and the others were confronting each other, Mu Yingying suddenly said. Mu Yingying is Sheng Yang, and she has a hot physique. If Sheng Yang felt cold, it would be unusual. Cold? And the power in my body seems to flow out a lot. Hearing Mu Yingying say this, Kaelin couldn't help but whisper. You can try. In the face of the threat of King Shenling, Xiao Yang said with a strong momentum. Are you just watching the entire Shen Santian powerhouse go to destruction? You must know that the number of people I control at this time, I am afraid that I am the strongest force in the entire Shen Santian. If these forces are lost, I am afraid that the Shenling continent will turn into a bubble in an instant. Shenling King said. Don't worry, I want to save people. It's impossible for Holy Flame to fall into your hands. Xiao Yang said coldly. The reason why Xiao Yang delays time so much is that he is also devouring the medicinal pills to restore his power. Xiao Yang believed that if there was a lotus of life and death, this King Shenling would definitely be able to completely obliterate it. Don't be ashamed. Xiao Yang, the final winner is still me. Ha ha ha. The next moment, the King Shenling suddenly moved, turned into a black chain, and flew away directly at the stone pillar where Mu Yingying was. Not good. It's actually the hunting flame lock. Seeing this, the Soul Eater, who was not far away, couldn't help roaring. The power of the flame hunting chain is obvious to the Lord of Soul Eater. He has seen this thing before. This thing can ignore all the defenses of the holy flame and directly collect the divine weapon of the source of the holy flame. If ordinary people are hit by this chain, I am afraid that they will be seriously injured in an instant, or even lose their vitality. No, the situation has changed. And when King Xuanling's expression just fluctuated, Xiao Yang realized that something was wrong and hurriedly shouted, "Ha ha ha. The power of holy flame." The King Xianling turned into a jet black chain and shot directly at Mu Yingying. The speed was so fast that it was suffocating. The change just now. It was actually absorbing my power. I was careless. Looking at this sudden scene, Cai Lin also knew that the power of cold that Mu Yingying had just mentioned was her own power. Yingying. Just when he saw King Xuanling's actions like this, Yang Kai let out a loud shout, and then his pupils turned red, and his body kept struggling to break free from the stone pillar. Whoosh whoosh. No matter how Yang Kai struggled, an invisible chain on the stone pillar bound him all the time, preventing him from leaving the stone pillar at all. No. The next moment, the chain transformed by King Xianling came 5 meters in front of Mu Yingying, and the next moment, it would completely penetrate Mu Yingying's delicate body. Brother. Xiao Yang. Mu Yingying's face changed greatly when faced with such a situation, and she couldn't help but murmured in a low voice, "My holy flame, come back." King Xuanling's gloomy voice came out, and he suddenly pierced into Mu Yingying's stone pillar. There was a sound of blood dripping, as if something was broken. Am I dead? The entire space was deadly silent, and then Mu Yingying opened her eyes slightly, but a shocking scene emerged in her heart. Xiao Yang. Second brother. Second brother. No. Heart-piercing roars gathered from all directions. And just as Mu Yingying opened her beautiful eyes, she was attracted by these roars. What was reflected in Mu Yingying's pupils was a rather familiar face. There was no pain on that face, but a very pale aura. Xiao Yang, don't. You can't die. But when Mu Yingying saw Xiao Yang's figure, she shook her head frantically, her eyes fixed on Xiao Yang, because at this moment, at Xiao Yang's heart, a huge skeleton about the size of a fist emerged, and at the center of the skeleton, a bright red heart was inserted into an incomparably dark chain. The power that corrodes everything constantly devours Xiao Yang's vitality. The black chain was pulled out, and then Yueru's figure followed, directly attacking her in a deadlock. And as the black chains were pulled away, Xiao Yang's heart also seemed to be seriously injured, and the beating frequency was slowly weakening, but the heart that was still intact just now became fragmented after the black chains left. I, finally didn't, break my promise. Xiao Yang looked at Mu Yingying, who was close at hand, and said softly, his voice was quite soft. Say no more. Say no more. You're going to die. But Mu Yingying's beautiful eyes turned red, and the tip of her nose felt sour. Kaylin, I'm sorry. Yingying, I'm sorry. Long Yi, Xiao Yi, Senior Soul Eater, I'm sorry. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and then his breath suddenly plummeted, his eyes became dull, and even his demeanor died, as if on the verge of death. At this time, on Xiao Yang's forehead, the Xiao clan lines slowly appeared, and they continued to release traces of mysterious power, trying to repair Xiao Yang's broken heart, but to no avail. No! Xiao Yang, you can't throw us away like this. When Kaylin saw this scene, her whole body collapsed instantly. There is no place for Queen Medusa's heir, and she looked like she wanted to die. Xiao Yang, you can't die. But Mu Yingying and Kaylin were caught by this sudden scene and tried their best to break free from the restraint of the stone pillar. No matter how powerful the restraint was on the stone pillar, the two women ignored it. Finally, at the next moment, the two women broke free from the shackles of the stone pillar, and then came to Xiao Yang, hugged Xiao Yang gently. The power of 10 colors and the power of azure holy flame kept going towards Xiao Yang. He tried to repair Xiao Yang's broken heart, but Xiao Yang's aura was still rapidly weakening, and was even about to disappear. Xiao Yang's body's life force has almost drained away, and he has begun to dissipate his soul power. Once Xiao Yang's body's soul power is completely dissipated, I am afraid that the strong fighting gods will not be able to return to the sky. Get away from me. At this moment, the Master of Soul Eater was also furious, and the aura outside his body suddenly shook, instantly knocking Shen Kang back, and then he swiftly left towards Xiao Yang. Senior, I beg you to save him. The air mass of the Soul Eater had just arrived at Xiao Yang's side, and Kaylin immediately grabbed the air mass and said in tears, I'll take a look. The Soul Eater also knew the importance of the matter, and immediately bypassed the second daughter, squatted down and wrapped Xiao Yang with his own strength. Senior, how is it? After a few breaths, the power of the Soul Eater Lord's wrapping Xiao Yang slowly disappeared, and the two girls couldn't help asking. Difficult. Just now, King Xuanling's attack was called the Chain of Hunting Flames, and it was specifically aimed at Saint Yang, but Xiao Yang blocked a blow for you, and his heart was completely smashed by the Chain of Hunting Flames. And the vitality in the body has now been exhausted, and the power of the soul has begun to flow away. The Lord of Soul Eater said sadly. If Shen Kang hadn't stopped him carelessly just now, Xiao Yang would never have let this happen. Senior, isn't there anything I can do? Mu Yingying asked unrelentingly. There is only one way now. You use the power of Holy Flame to burn Xiao Yang's body to retain his soul power. I will take his soul power to the ghost world. In this case, there is still a chance of life. Soul Eater's eyes flashed a hint of helplessness, and then said, burning the body, the power of the soul. Kaylin also seemed to have sensed something. She desperately hugged Xiao Yang's body and couldn't help muttering. Xiao Yang, I won't let you die. Even if it is exchanged for my death, I will not let you die. They said that my blood is the blood of the 10-colored sky-swallowing python, which possesses supreme power. Drink it. I beg you, drink. Kaylin also growled even more, tearing his wrists to pieces, and a trace of brilliant blood dripped directly on the corner of Xiao Yang's mouth, but Xiao Yang still didn't help. Do not do that. Recklessly using the blood power of the 10-colored sky-swallowing python will cause immeasurable damage to yourself. The Soul Eater shed a trace of strength and directly stopped Kaylin's excessive behavior. Asshole. You let me go. He's going to die, so what about the powerful force? Cai Lin couldn't help roaring when he saw that his wrist was stopped by Soul Eater. I use the power of Holy Flame to burn his body, can I really leave his soul power behind? And Mu Yingying on the side also asked slightly. Okay fine. Hurry up, otherwise, after a while, there will be no chance. And the Lord of Soul Eater also said. Mu Yingying, you dare. But when Mu Yingying was just about to start, Cai Lin roared. Sister Kaylin, I. Mu Yingying was called by Kaylin, and then she stopped. Senior, at this time, are you still hiding something from us? Cai Lin vaguely felt that the Lord of Soul Eater seemed to have something to hide from them, and said directly with a weeping voice. If you burn his body, of course you can retain his soul power and have a chance of life, but he will be resurrected in the future, and he will not have any memory about you. The Lord of Soul Eater was slightly surprised when he heard this, then speak out. How could this be? When Mu Yingying heard the words, she fell into a sluggishness and directness. Yingying, I beg you to save him. When Kaylin heard this, her heart suddenly trembled, and then she looked at Mu Yingying and said, hurry up and make a decision. My power won't last long. If he waits until his soul power completely disappears, I'm afraid he will be weak. The Soul Eater noticed Xiao Yang's rapid loss of soul power, and couldn't help but said, yes. Mu Yingying agreed softly, and then walked in front of Yang Kai. Brother, thank you for taking care of me since I was a child. You have always been the most powerful brother in Yingying's mind. But this time, Yingying may not be able to accompany you back. Anyway, you have tolerated my willfulness so many times, so let me be willful one last time. But Mu Yingying spoke slowly to Yang Kai. Could it be? Although Yang Kai felt sympathy for Xiao Yang, in the final analysis, her resentment towards humans kept Yang Kai sane. Seeing Mu Yingying speak like this, she couldn't help but have a crazy idea in her heart. Brother, thank you. After Mu Yingying finished speaking, an azure flame radiated from her whole body, and then she stepped back slightly and walked towards Xiao Yang. Mu Yingying, you dare. And Yang Kai noticed this scene and couldn't help roaring, his pupils were filled with a kind of madness. Brother, you always told me before that the human world is wonderful. Humans not only possess extremely high intelligence, but even have something that our holy flames have never had in their entire lives. Love. I used to often ask you what love is, but now, I may have found it. After Mu Yingying finished speaking, an azure blue holy flame crystal suddenly appeared on the palm of her hand, and then she attached to Xiao Yang slightly. Mu Yingying, you will die like this. Is it worth it for a human being? Yang Kai didn't understand human emotions at all, but if Mu Yingying did that, she would disappear completely and die completely. Yang Kai obviously didn't want to see that scene. But I just want him to be alive. Mu Yingying finished softly, and then the azure blue holy flame crystal on the palm of her hand was gently squeezed and suddenly shattered. Sister Kaylin, if possible, I hope you will never tell Xiao Yang about what to do next. After Mu Yingying finished speaking, Her delicate body flashed. Sacred flame spirit, I have suffered you. And the holy flame crystal had just broken, and the holy flame spirit entrusted in Mu Yingying's body was also weak and was about to fall. Maybe this is life. Your choice is our common choice. This time, the holy flame spirit didn't refute Mu Yingying, and said something in her body. Thank you. Mu Yingying also smiled happily and said, okay, gathering the strength of the two of us should allow him to be reborn. The spirit of holy flame opened his mouth. Let's start. Yeah. After Mu Yingying finished speaking, the spirit of the holy flame disappeared, instantly turning into a pool of azure blue liquid, slowly appearing in Mu Yingying's palm. Xiao Yang, I want you to live. And Mu Yingying scattered the just broken Saint Flame crystal directly to the big hole in Xiao Yang's chest. The blue liquid also paved the way, and the beautiful eyes smiled slightly. In the name of the 22nd place on my holy flame list, the ethereal ice flame, with my blood, with my soul, with my power, sacrifice. At this moment, Mu Yingying smiled brightly. As soon as she finished speaking, her entire body became illusory. At the last moment, her entire body actually burned, and it turned into a blue flame in a short while. Under his gaze, he crashed into the big hole in Xiao Yang's chest. With Mu Yingying's actions like this, Xiao Yang's exhausted body suddenly took a slight breath, slowly flowed blood, and even had a faint heart-beating sound, and was strong and healthy. The force began to beat, and the power that was almost exhausted in the body, also at the same moment, began to show a geometric sprint, skyrocketing. Still coding, it will be late. The holy flame that has appeared now. Rank 35 Fire Heart Tianyang. 24 Ghost Face and Soul Flame. 22 Ethereal Ice Flame. And the guardian of the Xiao clan who appeared at the beginning. 23 The Dark Blue and the Cold. Yang Kai is ranked 21. If you have any good ideas you can come up with, I will take a good look at them, and I will release them all after some time on the Shenyang ranking. This video will end here.